Hey, welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Education Lady podcast, brought to you by K-12 Sports Tech and all of our other great sponsors. Before we meet this week's Wednesday Wisdom Pro, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. So stick with us for the next 3 minutes. And then after the interview, go and visit these companies, especially if you're not using them. You're going to be very glad you did. Here we go. We want to thank K-12 Sports Tech for sponsoring Wednesday Wisdom. K-12 Sports Tech helps athletic directors and sport vendors connect through education and hands-on consulting services. Athletic directors are also invited to join the K-12 Sports Tech AD think tank and help influence how companies shape their tech to better serve schools. To get started or to find out more, just go to k12sportstech.com. That's it, k12sportstech.com. We want to thank Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their scoreboards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, turn your school into a Huddle school. We want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's from Ohio, but my assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others, and it was a great experience. It's very affordable, just 20 months, totally online. And while you're completing your master's, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses. Go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters. We want to say thanks to our friends at Gipper. You know, your student athletes are online on social media, and so are a lot of their parents. And if they're not seeing content that celebrates their accomplishments and also promotes your program, you're missing out on a great opportunity. Go to Gipper.com, tell them you heard about it on the podcast. It's used and trusted by over 4,000 high school and colleges across the country. Their team will have you creating world-class content in seconds, and it's so easy, even I can do it. That's Gipper.com. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the events, or your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's also a great way to tell your school's unique history and brag about your proudest moments. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We'd like to thank Home Campus. You've heard me say before, Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results, communication. Their student athlete eligibility and clearance platform alone is worth the price. Go to homecampus.com to get started. That's it, homecampus.com. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Now, athletic directors already get feedback, but a lot of times it's from a very small group that just wants to complain. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group so you can hear those issues, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% that supports your program. And having that data in your pocket is incredibly valuable, especially when you're talking to that frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. That's athleticsurveys.com. We want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with great success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. Go to snapraise.com. And we want to thank our good friends at Hometown Ticketing. Hometown's the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. And I don't think I need to say anything more. go to hometownticketing.com. Whether it's more support, more security, more customization, the Hometown team is here to help you make the best online ticketing solution. That's hometownticketing.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got one of our regulars with us today. Longtime listeners, you're going to recognize the name Molly Tomlinson from Deerfield High School in Illinois. Tremendous background as an athlete, as a coach. Now she's the assistant athletic director at Deerfield, very active at the state and at the national level. And like I said, one of our more popular Wednesday Wisdom guests. So Molly, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks for having me back.
For listeners, we're recording this on October 10th. Many of us here in Florida just dodged another hurricane. Hope you're safe where you're at. But Molly, fall, it's a busy time for ADs where winter is just around the corner. What do you have for our listeners this time on Wednesday Wisdom?
Yeah. Super excited to be here to share a little bit of my story and passion project regarding a conference that we are starting here in Illinois in the northern suburbs called Empower Her, a conference for young women athletes. So I'm excited to talk about this one. It's passion project for a reason. This is my 4th year in the assistant AD role. And right now it's almost that point where I have a lot more experience in terms of the X's and O's of my job, and my responsibilities are clear, and I'm getting in the groove of my everyday responsibilities, right? And then I've had this project kind of in the back of my mind, or this idea since I started this role, because while I love being an assistant AD and an athletic administrator, sometimes there are some barriers that we face as female ADs. So I was like, okay, what can maybe we do as a group of athletic directors to maybe kind of like, I don't even want to say level the playing field, because I don't necessarily even like that term, but to give these female athletes a space to not only feel empowered, but also convince them that they already have the power to inspire others, right? Based on their experience in sports. So I had a great experience as a student athlete in high school. And I think I like intrinsically and also naturally had a lot of great female role models that were in like leadership roles. And so I naturally had a kind of list of mentors. And I think those mentors, some coaches, some female ADs, some just female principals, things like that. But I found that, they ended up being, now that I'm reflecting on that experience, now on this other side of being an athletic administrator, now I look back and I'm like, wow, they were really inspiring. And so what if we could have a really intentional day intended to, like, again, give these athletes a safe space to speak about their experience in sports, some challenges they faced. We've got hear from different speakers and different experts from fields that will continue to push these women forward in not only sports, but then what we have been finding in a lot of research, especially lately, is that then these experiences in sports, especially in high school, is such a great springboard to then their success in whatever career they end up going into. It doesn't have to be athletic related, right? Mine is, but it doesn't have to be, right? CEOs of companies, et cetera. So that's kind of where like this idea came from. All right. So now what are we talking about and what is this conference? So we have 7 female ADs/assistant ADs in the Central Suburban Conference that I'm a part of. Again, northern suburbs of Chicago. So this conference, this group of 7 female ADs, myself included, we've been working tirelessly to get these pieces together to make this conference great. The conference is going to be February 17th, 2025 at Deerfield High School in Illinois. And it's a Monday that we don't have school. It's President's Day. So that allows us to host, this large event. We wanted to, especially being the inaugural event, we wanted to be the host this very first time. So, we've got our auditorium all set. We've got our small lecture halls all set, our gym spaces, our classrooms all ready to go. And so really the conference goals, I said this, the conference title is Empower Her. But the goals of the conference are really to promote sustained participation in sports among girls. Really, emphasizing the importance of engaging girls early and fostering a positive relationship with athletics. Hopefully, since they're already in high school, they've had that start in their youth, but maybe they've just started playing sports and they're just finding that passion and all the skills that they're gathering to compete and realizing how powerful that is. We want to tackle the gender gap through different workshops and different speakers that develop mental preparation, leadership, confidence, etc. Another big aspect of this conference is to celebrate achievements and inspire future leaders, right? So again, I've been talking about creating that safe space, but really creating a safe, supportive environment where young female athletes can celebrate their accomplishments and highlight the developmental benefits of sports in both personal leadership and just like in their growth, right, moving forward. So a lot of goals kind of throughout that idea. What is this going to look like? So we've got pretty much half a day that we're going to dedicate to this conference. So imagine you're a student athlete, you're going to meet at your school, you're going to get on the bus, you're going to come to Deerfield High School, and we're going to welcome you between 8:30 and 8:45 a.m. We're going to hype up the auditorium, really just set the stage for a positive day. I'm really excited for our keynote speaker, Sarah Spain. If you don't know anything about Sarah Spain, you're missing out. So please look her up. She's got a great podcast right now, Good Game with Sarah Spain. That's phenomenal. And so Sarah Spain is actually a Chicagoan. She grew up in Lake Forest, really just 10 minutes down the road from us, actually, and currently lives in Chicago. Big fan of Michael Jordan and women's sports. And so she's going to be our keynote speaker. She'll talk to us and pump us up for about 45 minutes. And then after that, as a student, then you've got 4 different breakout sessions that you're going to go to. Now, as the student athlete, you've already signed up for these breakout sessions. We've got a lot of different speakers that we're reaching out to currently that we're hoping these different breakout sessions will cover various topics that are hot topics that will make an impact on these young athletes and coaches. And so we're finding that different Big Ten network sports marketing managers, for example. We've got who else do we have? Let's see. Vice President of Basketball Operations for Strength and Conditioning for the Chicago Sky, for example. We're going to have a sports psychologist come and talk. We're going to have a panel of former athletes, both at the high school and college level, talking about how sports has really helped them in their current job, among other various topics. So hopefully those breakout sessions will allow student athletes to sign up for things they're actually interested in and go to those breakout sessions. Now, I say that there's 4 time slots for those sessions, but as a student athlete, I'm going to go to 3 of those sessions. And one other one will just be a time for a snack break, a time to talk to various vendors that we're going to have at the conference, vendors potentially like Honest Game to talk about, helping prepare to play for the next level. The Chicago Bears organization has really been an instrumental piece to get girls flag football started in many states, but including Illinois, or I should say the NFL, and then specifically the Chicago Bears. So we're going to have different ways for the vendors to be able to connect with our female athletes And we're also going to have an opportunity for, in that vendor session, the student athletes to get a professional headshot taken of them for absolutely free. What a great way to, maybe create your LinkedIn profile, to just start your, your repertoire, your resume, with a nice professional headshot that they'll go home with, a digital copy at least access to. And to kind of talk a little bit about the personal branding aspect as well. So those breakout sessions, we're hoping they're only going to be about 25 to 30 minutes long. We found that 30, 35 minutes is like a sweet spot for attendees. We've got your attention. We don't want to make it too long, but we still want to make sure that message is powerful and impactful. And then at the very, very end, at 12 o'clock, we're going to bring everyone back to our big main competition gym to have a closing ceremony. Not sure exactly what it looks like yet. So if anybody has any ideas, feel free to share. One thing that we really have been talking about around the planning committee table is incorporating youth sports, the youth female sports around our area, and maybe incorporating them in our closing ceremony, kind of hyping them up that they're going to be, hopefully in these high school chairs in a few years, but then also give the high schoolers a nice little reminder that the positive role models that they are and the reason that they were chosen to be there, and the generation that they have the opportunity to influence, right? So closing ceremony is still kind of in the works and being planned as we speak, but that's generally what the conference, the day, the structure is going to look like. It's been great, I got to tell you, around our area, especially in our conference. We've started slowly rolling out what this conference is, and it's got just some great energy around it. Nate Flannery, our athletic director, shared it with our booster club just a couple nights ago. And just already the emails that have been coming in about, oh, I know so-and-so, or my neighbor is she's a female AD at the Division III college down the road. She would love to speak, so it's great that, it's kind of like women's sports. We've always been amazing. We've always made great moves and been great competitors and winners, but now finally people are starting to recognize that. So it's kind of cool, the same idea with this conference. It's like we've always had this need for a conference like this, or a day like this, or a event, right, like this, to make an impact. But it just takes, kind of a reminder of all the resources we have in our area to make this happen, right? This is not just Deerfield High School making this happen. It's a ton of athletic directors, a ton of our superintendent, Dr. Shayla Holland, played basketball at Northwestern. She's been a huge supporter of this and basically said anything you guys need will help make happen. So I feel like it's been great having that army behind my idea, that just kind of started as a passion project to bring to the forefront and really make this happen. So it's kind of like how it started, what we're working with right now. A lot of moving pieces still, but the planning is in the works, and we're excited. The registration is really going to open at the end of next month. So November 20th is when we're going to open the registration to first all the conference schools in the central suburban. We're going to prioritize them, of course, and let them bring their female athletes and sign them up. And then we're going to open up to some of the other conferences in our area. I had mentioned that Lake Forest is where Sarah Spain went to high school. They're not in our conference, but they've already said that they want to bring quite a few people to attend this event. So it's been great. It's been inspiring, a little rejuvenating for me, just to get, a lot of support and just great ideas around this event. After the conference is over, I think it's going to be important for us to gather the data on how the day went, and to kind of figure out, like, another piece I have in my brain is that, like, how we can figure out, could there be a follow-up meeting to this conference? Could we come back in May on our football field and maybe watch a couple cool inspiring videos, or maybe the schools will have their opportunity to share what they've brought back to their school to make happen. I think we targeted the month of February for this because February, I believe it's February 7th, 2025, is the National Women and Girls in Sports Day. And so that day is great. We do a breakfast that day. We honor our female athletes. We have a guest speaker there, and that day is great. So I think, maybe if schools haven't done something like that, if nothing else, if they start an event like that breakfast, or they bring in different speakers or whatever it might be, I think then we've done what we intended to do. So I'm really excited about it. If anyone has any ideas, if anyone's done anything in their area that's something similar, or any connections that way, we are open to anything and everything. It's the first year, so I think it's going to be the most strenuous in terms of making sure we think of all the details, right? And all the X's and O's. It's just like hosting an event, a big event, or a big game, right? A big football, basketball, soccer game, whatever it might be. You got to try to think of every little thing, and then people show up and you just kind of go with the flow and try to make it the best experience for everyone involved.
Boy, I can feel your excitement. That's very cool. But what a great idea! And I know a couple other states have done this in the past. I'm going to share those with you when we're off camera. But you've already done a tremendous amount of organization and outreach. Securing a keynote like that. Sarah Spain, always one of my favorites. Congratulations on that. And thanks for sharing with our listeners. So those in the area or those that might want to travel to the area have an opportunity to begin to plan. I know it's the sign up hasn't been released yet, but go ahead and give out those dates one more time, and we're going to continue to help you promote this as it approaches. So, what were the dates again?
Great. So appreciate that. So the date is Monday, February 17th, 2025, and that's going to be at Deerfield High School in Deerfield, Illinois. It's half a day. So really 8:30 a.m. is when you need to have your group arrive, and we'll have you out of there about 12:30.
Well, again, it sounds tremendous. I'm excited to hear more. Speaking of more, for our listeners, Molly's going to be at the national conference. She presented last year with some of her students. Just a great, great professional AD. Molly, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and connect maybe before the national conference, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Yeah. If you just Google Deerfield High School athletics, you'll find my information on our athletic webpage. My direct email is on there. I'm going to share it here though. M Tomlinson. So MTOMLINSON at DIST113.org.
And for all of our NIAAA members, Molly's information is on the NIAAA membership portal. So, Molly, thanks again. Always great to connect with you, and all the best moving forward. I'm excited that we can help you promote it.
Thanks, Jake. You do such great work. So thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're very kind. We also want to say thanks to our listeners and remind them that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this segment every single week, and just about every day we try to share stories and best practices. So come back and join us on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. And before we go, we do want to thank our sponsors one more time, especially K-12 Sports Tech. They're the named sponsor for all of our Wednesday Wisdom segments. That's K12sportstech.com. The rest of them, they're all great. I really encourage you to go visit these, particularly if you're not using them. I'll say it again. You're going to be very glad you did. Go to Gipper.com, world-class social media posting. Huddle.com, videos, streaming, you name it. Hometown ticketing, they do more than just ticketing. That's hometownticketing.com. SnapRaise, they're the #1 online fundraising platform, snapraise.com. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Home Campus, you've heard me say you're going to use it every single day. Go to homecampus.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame, check out their touchscreen video boards. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. Ohio University's online master's degree and athletic surveys by LifeTrack. That's athleticsurveys.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast.